Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. I want to break from my usual intro. I hope you all are having a fantastic Thanksgiving or have had. And welcome to beautiful New Zealand with Cookie Pirate, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we're flying the Cirrus SR-22 from Auckland down to Wellington. It's going to be about an hour and 15 minutes. I think we're going at 21,000 feet. It says 259 miles. Climb aboard, let's go flying. Just a real quick setting change. The game had an update. Oh. I meant to click keep changes there. Alright. Apply and save. We can get back out of that. Now we're loaded in. Maria, welcome. Everybody get your passports ready. Alright, let's get the plane started up. Battery switches on. Alright. Switch over. I thought I'd do a little bit of different music for the intro, since this is kind of new and a little special. But here we're loaded in. Other than being in New Zealand, which is going to be like different settings and weather and stuff like that, basically the flight is going to be the same, so let's go ahead and just get some stuff configured here. Let me get the flight controller plugged up. I unplugged it last night when I was doing Planet Coaster and forgot to hook it back up. Alright. It's on board. Yeah, and we're good. Alright, mixture's idle cut off, so we're gonna do boost pump on. Full rich. Pump the throttle full forward. Cut it back. Bump it just a tad forward here. Alright, lights are on. We can turn the magnetos to both. Clear left. Clear right. We are ready. Clear! Alright. Oil pressure is immediately up into the green, temperature is beginning to rise, battery amperage is in the yellow, so let's turn the alternators on. And they are good. "21,000 feet, we'll set the FLC to 110. Let's get the weather on the ground here at Auckland. 320 at 8, variable 290 to 350. Good visibility, no clouds. 23 Celsius, that is 73 Fahrenheit, so it's a relatively warm day. It's also only about 10:40 in the morning in New Zealand right now. Hue 1005. Now they use a different pressure system over here, so I think the way that we can actually check that is 2971 is the barometric pressure in inches. We have to go into a setting. Turn it to hectopascals. Okay, we're looking good. We can go ahead and turn the avionics on, let the GPS load up. I am not at all familiar with this airport, so we're going to have to look on the screen to kind of plan a taxi route. Let me just check the wind, 320 at 8, so we'll probably want... Let's zoom in and see. Okay, so the runway runs north to south. No, southwest to northeast. So we'll see the wind is coming from this way, so I think we'll actually want to take off this way. So we're going to actually have to turn around a little bit, taxi out down this way. It's an interesting configuration, and we can go probably like over here or something to get to the runway. So this is 23 left, but the question is, where is 23 right? Because I'm not seeing it on here. Doesn't really matter. Alright, so let's just look around. Yeah, we're definitely going to be... Let's go topographic, we can see a little bit better. Zoom in further on the map. Alright, so what we're going to do is release the parking brake, and we're just going to make a really sharp turn. People, vehicles, stuff like that don't render collisions. So we're going to just kind of back it that way. We're going to come down this direction here. That says no clouds and it looks cloudy. What in the world? That doesn't make a whole ton of sense. Alright, we're going to go ahead and turn here. And we're going to go straight across this. And the runway's 23 left. Alright, we'll come up, hold short right here. That's the runway right ahead of us. Alright, parking brake set. We're good to do a run up, so let's just check outside real quick. Rudder's good. Elevator's good, ailerons are good, quick test of the flight controls, all is good. Flaps to half, back into the cockpit. We're going to go ahead and do our run-up. Power up looking for 1700 RPMs. Good right there. Let's do a mag check. Right mag, good drop. Back to both. Left mag, good drop. Back to both. Engine instruments are all in the green. No warnings, errors, cautions, anything. Alright, so from right here, we can go ahead and pull the power to idle. Release the parking brake. Let's taxi out onto the runway. It is breezy here. And this is a high-speed turnoff, that's why it's angled and not at a perpendicular to the runway. Well, let's go ahead and get lined up on center line here. Pretty good right there. Let's just real quick set the parking brake. Get our VNAV on. FLC is on, so we're good there. Gonna set the heading. It's gonna be a turn to get on course. Alright, we've got all of that set up. Release the parking brake. We're ready for takeoff. Look at the view. Full power. Engine instruments good. Airspeed is alive. 77 will rotate. 60. 70. 77 up. Beautiful. Alright, we're airborne. We are right on the water. Wow, yeah, you really can't see it from where we were. Alright, good rate of climb. Let's go ahead and bring the flaps up. Once we're at 800 feet, we'll engage the autopilot. Little bumpy.
Engaging autopilot.
Alright, go with that. We can go ahead and turn on course. So let's go ahead and spin the heading bug right about there. I'm gonna quick view outside. So the airport right over here, this is all the city of Auckland. That's downtown right there. As the most populous city in New Zealand. And you can actually see some mountains kind of in the background and a very small one, more of a hill. Mountains all around out there. The cloud cover's interesting. It didn't look like it was going to be cloudy, based on the weather report, but oh well. Go back into the cockpit here. We can turn nav on. It may swing us over. It may actually just follow until we intercept the track. And we can go ahead and pull the power back. 30.5 on the manifold pressure. Right about there. And lean the mixture right down to about 20 gallons per hour. It's already setting us up to intercept. Enriching just a little bit. We bumped it a tad more than I wanted to. That's good there. Alright, now we're cycling back around to intercept course. Alright, we're on track and we've actually got a really significant crosswind right now. 32 knots, so we're actually 14 degrees off our GPS track. It's to avoid getting pushed too far off course. But we're set. We've got a ways to climb. We're going up to 21,000 feet, so we got a while. How about another view? Oh, look at that. That's pretty. Looks like a lot of farms or pastures down here. If we turn back that way, the city of Auckland. So there's the airport, of course. And then back here is downtown. All of this is like Auckland metropolitan area. Unfortunately, the cloud cover's making the visibility a little worse. But you can definitely see a good bit of scenery. It is pretty. Actually, looks like we might be going through some nasty weather up ahead. That was not expected. Hold up the chart, the weather looked clear. It is actually not great right now in Wellington where we're going, but we'll see. That's gorgeous. I'm glad you like it, Maria. Celsius. I think we're gonna have to turn on the de-icing because we're gonna be going through some of these clouds, and the temperature will be below freezing. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Definitely some interesting views over here. You can just barely still see downtown out over there. Definitely unique. Alright, let's pull up the map. Our route today is taking us from Auckland, right up here. And we are going straight south over most of the northern island. Then we'll actually cross over the water here. And we're coming into Wellington, which I believe is the capital of New Zealand, and the second largest city, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. Okay, Wellington is the capital, and it is the it's the third largest city in New Zealand. It's the second largest on the North Island. Okay, so Christchurch on the South Island is actually larger than Wellington. I did not know that. I thought it was the other way around. So going right pretty much to the southern tip of the northern island. All of this, of course, is the southern island. Christchurch would be all the way down here, and the southern island goes very far south, all the way to down there. Alright, now we're starting to pass through some not pleasant weather. So we'll need to turn the pitot heat on as it's getting cold, and just as a precaution, we're going to go ahead and bump the de-ice on. We're just going to kind of sit back for a little while and enjoy what we can see, which unfortunately now is not much, given that we're going through some weather. These pastures down here are pretty, though. Small community right there. Some farms. Looks like a river, a little bit of forest. zoom out on the map a little bit. We're starting to get above some of the clouds, but this up ahead, almost wonder if there are some storms. And given that this is not in the US or Canada, I'm not really sure where to check like aviation weather for outside of North America. So we're kind of going in a little blind for all the flight conditions, which is not something you would want to do in the real world. Of course, if we were actually here in New Zealand, we would have access to that information. We'd probably do, you know, on the net if I wanted to look it up. I just didn't do that ahead of time. But flight planning is important. You want to make sure that you have all of the pertinent information, including your plane's performance, your weight and balance, the weather, maps for the route that you're going to be flying, all of that stuff. Since this is Flight Sim, of course, we don't have to emulate full realism, although I do try to make it as realistic as plausible. You know, so within reason. 17,000 feet. We're actually getting a bit more of a tailwind right now. Now we've got about a 15 knot tailwind, which is nice. Still some pretty significant wind from the right. So it's kind of a right rear quartering wind. Alright, 18,000 feet. We can set standard pressure. I think we could turn the de-icing off. If we have to cycle it, we can. Quick view out of the cockpit. Oh, now! Okay, now we can see a little bit more of the ground. Oh, look at the rainbow! Look at the double rainbow! Holy cow! I don't think I've actually ever seen that in the sim. That is amazing. I have never seen that in this before. That is absolutely gorgeous. Like, wow. I have never seen that in Flight Sim, and that is just spectacular. It's definitely fading. The double is just barely still visible. The primary rainbow is actually still pretty prominent there. That's remarkable. I'm kind of blown away by that. It's the little things. Alright, back into the cockpit here. We're leveling off at 21,000 feet, and it looks like we're going to be going through some more clouds. Minus 18, that is zero, sorry, start hiccup. 0 Fahrenheit. So pretty considerably chilly. We're going to lean the mixture just a tiny bit, get back down to 20.0. Right there. And alright. So let's see. We have about a 14, yeah, still about a 14 knot tailwind. We've got a pretty significant crosswind, up over 40 knots now. And once we get up to our cruise speed, it's telling us just a little bit over an hour, which that's about right. It took about 15 minutes to climb, so unfortunately, there is a lot of cloud cover out this way, so we'll just have to keep an eye. We are picking up a little bit of ice, actually. So let's go ahead and turn that de-icing on. and we'll do the windshield de-ice a couple times. Just kind of keep that clear. And we'll just keep our eye on the conditions. If we're in this too long and pick up too much ice, we can try to descend below it. We really can't climb above it. It looks like the clouds extend pretty high up. And, yeah, we could go a little below. So we might have to drop back down to like 19 or 17,000 feet or something like that. But what we can see is actually quite pretty. We've got the mountains kind of all out through here. Just pull the map back up. See a little bit of mountains over there. So we're flying down the coast of the North Island. We'll actually pass a little bit further inland over this way. And at one point, I'm hoping the skies will be clear enough to see it, but there's a pretty high volcano right here, almost right in the middle of the island. And then we'll pass over the shoreline again, out over the water with the coast off our left wing, and then we'll pass back over land on our way into Wellington, and perhaps, if the visibility's good enough, we'll actually get a view of the extreme north of the southern island. So kind of all in this area is nice, where you get a view of both islands. Kind of the extreme north part of the southern island and the extreme south part of the northern island match up. So I'm hoping we'll be able to see that, but based on the weather, I'm not sure. So we'll see. Pick a prettier day to come down here and do this flight again, perhaps. I just want to check the airframe. Looks like no ice there. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. Move back over there. Looks like you can actually see just a little bit of the water out over there. And alright, yeah, there's the rainbows. Look at that! So, it's interesting. Look at the rainbow from above. It is a perfect circle. And that is just marvelous. Of course, it fades a little bit, just depending on where the sun is hitting and the precipitation and everything like that, but yeah. That's cool. I've never seen that in the sim, and it's remarkable. Yeah, take a look, we're right along the coastline here. It looks like the visibility's going in and out, so we'll just kind of be keeping our eye on what we'd be able to see. Yeah, we're picking up a little bit more ice. We definitely do have to be careful. If we continue picking it up, we may have to descend. Let's hit that a couple more times. Maybe we'll turn that up to high. We have enough de-icing for the hour flight to run it on high. The way that we would look at that is go into engine and anti-ice, an hour and 6 minutes, and we have 53 minutes remaining in the flight, so we've got enough to run it the full time. Not much to see out that way, but off this way at least you can see some of the terrain. It is a little bit misty, probably because of the clouds, and it looks like there's a fair bit of rain as well, so that's affecting our ability to see. But still some pretty views, I guess. Back onto the map. Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit bumpy. Little turbulence kind of going through some of this rough weather. So I said on the stream we're going to do a double flight. Once we land in Wellington, we'll actually plan another that's telling us exit icing. You just get an indication after running it for 5 minutes. So we can turn it off and turn it back on to clear that. We'll just have to stay on top of the de-icing. Continue to use it for the windshield as well. Yeah, we're flying through some precipitation right now, so that's actually going to add to the ice, so we really have to be careful. We might end up having to descend a little bit and try to get below some of this stuff. Just out of the cockpit real quick, just to check the airframe. Yeah, not really any ice on the wings. That's good. Maybe a very, very small trace amount. It's not as big of a problem if it's on like the windows or the windshield. Other than it just being a little bit heavy. But if it's on the wings or the prop, it'll actually disrupt the airflow that actually keeps the plane flying. So if we start seeing a lot of ice there, we need to get out of it. But if it's on the windshield and the windows, it's not as big of a deal. It just does add a little bit of weight, but we're flying light, so that's not too much of a concern. If we were flying heavy, like almost fully loaded, then any ice on the airframe, including the fuselage, the windscreen, etc., would be more of an issue. Our main priority right now is just to keep it clear off the prop in the airframe. We can cycle that a couple times. Off and back on, just to kind of refresh it. So there's a really tall mountain over here, and there's actually another one over here, a little bit less tall, but I'm hoping we'll get a good enough view to be able to see that. It should be pretty remarkable. Fuel imbalance, oops, sorry. Let's go ahead and switch the tank. We could turn the fuel pump off as well. And that should clear momentarily. There we go. We're in the yellow, so we also do have to be careful of turbulence. You want to be in smooth air if you're flying in the yellow. So what we actually could do is pull the power back just a little bit to get down to about 160. So we'll get down to about 75% power. And that's coming down now. Yeah, breaking the clouds. Now it looks like we're actually going to be above this. That's a good sign. So let's just go ahead and keep de-icing the windscreen. Hey, Strawberry Jam, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving. Visit Oshkosh, the airport. Yeah, you know what? That would be cool. I may do a flight up there sometime. More inclined to do that in the spring or summer. But a winter flight up there actually could be really pretty, so we might do that sometime. Yeah, it's getting prettier over this way. It looks like we passed through some of the worst of the weather. Got a ways to go, 47 minutes remaining en route. This is definitely one of the longer flights I've done. And I usually don't do flights that are more than about this long en route in the air. And then I usually add 10 to 15 minutes. You know, for a startup and taxi out always takes longer than taxi in and shut down and stuff. But usually add, I would say, 15 minutes to the flight time, and that's about how long the stream is going to be. We are doing another flight after this, so... we'll figure that out. Alright, we can actually bump that back up to about 80%. Oshkosh is where the famous Backrooms image was taken. Yeah, Yeah, and of course they have the EAA Air Venture, one of the biggest fly-ins and air show. I think it is the biggest in the world. Sun and Fun in Lakeland, Florida, I think is the second biggest. Bit of ice, but we've got clear skies ahead. We should be okay. And that power setting was pretty good. Actually, enriching the mixture, we get a little bit of a boost in power. I'm just hoping the visibility will be okay by the time that we get to see some of these mountains in the background. Oh, but this is pretty. Yeah, the sun's actually shining down here, some of the mountains and the forest and stuff like that. Wow. Really, the only reason people visit Wisconsin is EAA and the Dells, nothing else. Alright, about 43 minutes remaining in the flight. Yeah, so we've got a ways over the terrain. Pass over the water, come down into here. Hopefully the visibility is okay. We'd get some really pretty views of this area down here. We'll see, of course. Say we're probably about a third of the way, and then when we pass over this here, we'll probably be about 2/3 of the way. Exit icing, so we'll go ahead. Cycle that. We don't really need it on right now. Yeah, pretty much all of the ice is melted off now that we're in the sun. So that's kind of nice. So kind of just sit back and relax for a little bit. That's one thing about these longer flights is you have more time at cruise to just like hang out and stuff like that. The shorter flights you're doing more stuff. I think this is one of Maria's favorite songs. Let's see, we have an 18 knot headwind right now, and yeah, the wind is 44, so that would probably about a 35 knot crosswind right now, I guess. So that is working to our advantage a little bit. Yeah, I remember. Alright, so we've got mountains up ahead. Oh, it's kind of blocked off that way by clouds. We might get a view of the one over here. as it looks a bit clearer. We're still a little ways away, so we might get a better view here in a few minutes. Once we kind of pass up over here, it's about the halfway point, and we get a view right off the left and right wings. So, we'll see. I hope. I hope they will be visible. Looks like we did make it through the worst of the weather, all behind us out back that way. There's the coastline. We're actually not that far inland right now. That'll change once it kind of swings out over that way. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Take a look at that right there. Volcano right there. That's pretty neat. Pretty steep peak. If you look at the map, it rises pretty rapidly. There's really not a lot of high terrain around it. It just looks like a more or less standalone volcano right here on this portion of the island. And then the higher peak over that way, which I'm hoping will become visible here. Not really yet. The weather looks a bit rough out that direction. I'm actually going to look up the mountains, see what they are. Okay, so, yeah. Alright, so this one over here is called Te Papakura o Taranaki. I don't know what that means. And the really tall one out over this way, I'm hoping it'll become visible. Looks like Mount Ruapehu. And there's a volcano called Rotorua up over here. That's a pretty well-known, all on the North Island, volcanically active. Just some interesting names. I'm sure I'm butchering them. Ah, come on, clouds. Just disappear for a little bit. I mean, at least we get to see that. That's kind of pretty. You can see up ahead where we'll be passing over the water. See if we zoom in a little, can we make any terrain out? That doesn't seem like it right now. Maybe a little bit over there, I don't know. about 35 minutes to go, so let's say we're about halfway. Actually could give you a really easy way to check, because if you pull up the weather, it shows your departure and arrival airports in the distance. Okay, so yeah, we're just under halfway. 1:44 to go to Wellington. We're not going to be able to get the weather for there right now, so let's get out of that and sit back and enjoy it for a little while. Katie, hello. Welcome. Can you explain to me how flaps work? Yes, absolutely. So, right down here you have your flaps. Oh, I just bumped the power up by mistake. Let me, I tried to zoom in and it actually scrolled the throttle forward. Alright, let me zoom in and try to avoid doing that again. So, in this plane, this is the Cirrus SR22, you've got 3 flaps settings. So you have up, 50%, and 100%. In other planes, you might have more settings. A lot of them, like the Cessna 172, the 150, the 182, generally have anywhere from 30 to 40 degrees, and generally set in increments of 10. So you might have 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 40, stuff like that. Other planes, it may be up, takeoff, and landing. The way that the flaps work is, I'm actually going to take you out of the cockpit. Your flaps are right here. They're inboard, so closer to the fuselage, next to your ailerons, which are further outboard, closer to the wingtips. When you lower the flaps, what that does is it kind of acts as a little bit of a speed brake for the airplane. But it also changes what you call the camber of the wing. So when you have flaps down, it allows you to get more lift at slower speeds. And the times that you need that are generally at takeoff, when you're going relatively slowly and want to get airborne. And then more so when you're flying in an approach to land, where you need slow speed for stability and just to get to that lower speed for touchdown and stuff like that. So when your flaps are all the way down, it gives you the greatest gain in lift by allowing you to fly at much slower speeds. When your flaps are up, you're able to go faster, but you have to maintain a higher speed to be able to fly. If we go back into the cockpit here, there are speeds. Right here, you can't be above 150 with the flaps at half, and you cannot be above 110 with the flaps at full. If you do that, and you exceed those speeds with the flaps down, you can actually cause structural damage to the flaps. I have actually seen that happen in the real world. I was not flying when it happened. I was not in the aircraft when it happened, but I saw the results of it on the ground. The flap was bent, it was dislodged, the plane had to go for repairs. So you really want to make sure that you abide by the speeds. When you see the green on your airspeed indicator, the range of green is telling you how fast you can go at the top and the bottom with no flaps. You'll see a white bar when you get slower, and that is the range of the speed that you can safely fly in with full flaps. Now there's a lot of information there, but hopefully that kind of helps you understand. If you have any more specific questions, I'm more than happy to try to answer them for you. Alright, real quick, let's see if we can get a view. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's not a fantastic view, but you can see that mountain kind of right out over here. That, I believe, is the tallest mountain on the northern island. And then if we look back over this way, well, now it's obscured, but actually you can see it closer. That's the other mountain there right off the right side of the aircraft. And a ton of water. Maybe about 1,000 miles or so, you would eventually reach Australia if you flew out that way. A lot of cloud cover, but we're above it, so we don't really have to worry about icing or anything at this point. The terrain is actually pretty jagged. It is pretty, though. A lot of interesting geography out over here. And hey, look at that, the rainbow's showing back up and you can actually see a little bit of the double. That is pretty remarkable. Oh, man. Yeah, that is pretty cool. Back into the cockpit here. Let's just take a look at so it's basically just a speed brake which makes the plane climb at a certain amount of degrees without pulling back on the aileron. You wouldn't be pulling back on the aileron, you'd be pulling back on the elevator. So your ailerons over here by the wingtips adjust. One goes up, the other goes down, and that helps the plane turn. Your elevator, right back here, is what helps the plane climb or descend. As for flaps being speed brakes, not exactly. The flaps really, what they do is give you extra controllability, particularly at slow speeds, by giving you more lift and making the plane a little more responsive. These small planes don't have actual speed brakes, but the bigger planes, like your commercial jets and some of your like business jets, like Cessna Citation, Lears, stuff like that, they have actual speed brakes, and what those are is they actually come up off like the middle of the wing, and they disrupt the airflow to create extra drag to slow the plane down. The flaps do create drag to slow the plane down, but you don't want to use them for that purpose, because if you're going too fast when you lower the flaps, as I mentioned, you can actually damage the airframe, the flaps themselves, but you could even cause structural damage to the wings and stuff like that. So they kind of work as speed brakes, but not exactly. As if your airplane, has like proper speed brakes, you would use those to slow down rapidly. Whereas your flaps, they just help give you extra lift at slow speeds. How about a view back this way? Yeah, can't really see that mountain out there anymore. At least we got a little bit of a view of it. But you can see that one there. That's actually pretty neat, if you look back there. Super helpful. Hoping to get Microsoft MSFS within the next month, and I really didn't know how flaps worked exactly. Thank you so much. Well, you're more than welcome. Have you thought about which version you want to get? I have both. So this is Flight Sim 2020, and I have Flight Sim 2024. I just don't have it set up right now. I don't know if you've given any consideration to which of the two you want to get. But I can I can give you suggestions or answer questions about the two of them if you need. But if you've already decided, great. 2024, 100%. Alright, that is, in my opinion, that is the right decision. Just make sure your computer can run it well. Because it does have a pretty steep hardware requirement, especially if you're going to run with high settings. But it is the better of the two. It just has more features. I actually find that despite it having higher requirements, it runs better. Also, I should clarify, I am not a flight instructor, and I'm not a pro with flight sim. I do have a private pilot license in the real world, and I do a lot of flight sims, so if you have questions or want like a little help on how to fly or something like that, I'd be more than willing to help you. And when you're first getting into it, I know a lot of people like to go for the real big planes and stuff like that. Start with something small that is much more forgiving, easier to get the basics of how everything works, and just enjoy it. I personally love the small planes. You get to go from, you know, smaller airports that the big planes can't go in or out of, and you get some really beautiful scenery in some of the remote places. It's the only problem right now, getting a budget-ish computer. You'll really have to be careful. If you're going with a budget-end computer, you need to make sure you meet, I would honestly say, better than what the minimum requirements for the game are. I would at least go for what the recommended requirements are. So, I think they spell out 3 tiers. You've got the minimum, the recommended, and then your, like, high-end peak performance. Go for those middle ones if you can. Check on this here. 23 minutes to go, so we're going to start descending relatively soon. I think we're still too far away to pick up the weather at Wellington. Yeah. But we can at least start, you know, downward. So what we're going to do is make sure our VNAV is on. It is. Been doing research for hours every day. Think I've found something that will run it well. Alright. Yeah, hopefully. And that's really good. You're doing your research, so you're not going into it blind or taking a guess or something like that. So, pre-builts are fine. If you know, or if you know someone who knows how to build your own, you can actually get more bang for your buck, so to speak. But if you get a high quality pre-built, you get stuff like the warranty and everything, which is nice, and they're ready to go right out of the box. You don't have to fiddle with setting it up. Alright, so going over the water, we can actually descend pretty low. I'm going to drop it down to 4,000. Well, 3. I mean, that's fine. We're going to be over the water. I do need to try to get the weather, so I'm going to pull up the map. Alright, there's Wellington. Let's click on it. Alright, 350 at 15, so we're actually going to have to fly past the airport and then come around and land that way. The wind is way too strong to try to land this direction. Broken at 1900, 20 Celsius, 68 Fahrenheit. 1001 on the pressure. We won't need to set that until we start descending. Below 18,000 feet. So, but with that in mind, I'm going to set the ILS 3-4. And I really don't know where all of these are, so I'm just going to load it but not activate, and I'll check the map, see how far it takes us. Well, that's actually pretty far out. We may not need to go that far. Alright, so this is not giving us a point of top of descent. So we can, if I time it for a descent of 1,000 feet per minute, we can fly about another 2 to 3 minutes before we have to start descending. So I guess we'll just go with that for now. Should be okay. Now we're out over the water. Oh, take a look at this. You can actually see the southern island now. Just, oh, come on, it was there, and then it just disappeared when I zoomed in. Come on. Alright, back out, there we go. It's rendering. But this over here is the far north point of the southern island in New Zealand. And if you look back over here, it's kind of obscured by clouds, but this is all still the northern island, so you actually can see both. Alright. So let's just get set up and time this here. What I found is an RTX 5070 32 gigs of RAM, Ryzen 9900X. Alright, so 5070 is good. 32 gigs of RAM is good. And the 9900X is a good processor, but honestly I would go for a 9800X 3D if you can do that. The X3D processors will actually give you a little bit of boost in your gaming. I don't know where you were going, but you gotta get me out of here. Oh no. Oh, welcome. So we're going into Wellington. We're gonna start descending any moment now, and we should be on the ground in just a little over 20 minutes. So we're going into Wellington, New Zealand, which is the capital. And yeah, we can actually go ahead and start now. So we're going to turn VNav off, set the vertical speed on, and target it for 1,000 feet per minute. We pull back on the power down to about 35%. We need to keep that speed down at about 160. We zoom in. This is all the northern island right here. Wellington is down over this way. It's a bit cloudy. And then this is the southern island in the distance. Let's go. Really good gold there. Really? We can bump that power up just a little bit here. Katie, I'll give you one other pointer too when it comes to the computer. Make sure whatever case you get, make sure it has good airflow. Because you'll need good airflow to keep all of your components cool, because this is pretty resource intensive. So you just want to make sure that you're not starving your computer parts of air. I've had that problem with pre-builts in the past. Some are fantastic with airflow, others not so much. So just be aware of that. just check on a couple things here. We don't need to switch the fuel tank right now. That's in the green, so we're good. If it drops below, we'll have to enrich in the mixture a bit. But it's fine where it is right now. Don't need to do the boost pump or the lights right at the moment. Throw you a subscribe for the ride. Man, I really appreciate that. I hope you all have had a fantastic Thanksgiving if you celebrate. If not, I hope you've had a fantastic day. Alright, we are below 18,000 feet, so we're going to go ahead and set the barometric pressure. I think it said Q1001. Oh, now it's 1,000, so the weather actually updated. 350 at 17, 21 Celsius, few clouds at 1,800, so the visibility is actually improving. We'll go ahead and set that pressure. Zoom in a little bit on the map. If it's not obscured too much by clouds, we actually... Oh, yeah, you can see it. Look at that. Kind of this ridge of mountains that runs... get a better view out of the cockpit. This mountain ridge that runs right along the western side of the island. That is pretty. Wow. And then all of these are kind of just an island chain on part of the southern island out that direction there. Eventually you would run into, going that way, you'd get down to like Christchurch and a few other cities on the southern island. So I think Queenstown is another really popular, or not popular, populated city. Invercargill. Dunedin. I know I'm not pronouncing those 100% properly. Yep, Queenstown. Southern Island is beautiful. It's much larger than the Northern Island, but it's far less populated. And the geography is a bit different. Maybe at some point we'll do a flight down the Southern Island. It is pretty though. Looks like a little bit more rain over here. And it is almost noon over here in New Zealand. We're picking up just a tiny bit of ice. So let's go ahead and actually switch that back on. Probably because of the precipitation. We'll hit that a few times. Alright, let's just keep track of our descent rate here. So we're set at 1,000 feet per minute. We're at 13,000. We've got 14 minutes to get to the point we need to. So we can actually make that a little shallower. So let's bring that up. Let's go to about 800 feet per minute. And we can bump the power up just a touch. So when you have a fixed descent rate with your vertical speed, you control your airspeed with the power. So to go faster in the descent, you just add power. Just like at cruise, you would add power to go faster. But when you have a fixed airspeed with your FLC, the plane is going to pitch to maintain that speed, so you actually would control your descent rate with the throttle. Lots of water out that way. Very pretty scenery off the left wing, though. Alright, let's do a couple things here to get set up. Boost pump on. Mixture's fine where it is right now, so we can leave that. And then we'll turn the de-icing off. We're not really going through any moisture, and we're about to descend into above freezing temperatures. Yeah, no ice, we're good. And then once it gets above 4 Celsius, we can actually turn the pitot heat right there off. We'll leave it on for a few more minutes. 12 minutes to the... Is it to pass over the airport or so? Saying we should be on the ground in about 14 minutes. It'll be a little more than that, because we'll have to slow the airplane down and fly the approach, which will add a couple minutes. Zoom in just another notch on the map. Grab a look over there. Oh, cool. Alright, so it looks like a couple towns. You get some more of those mountains. Look at that island right there. That's neat. Scenery in the back, and you can actually, if I'm... Yeah, you can. That's the water on the other side of the island as it narrows down over here. So you can actually see out there. That's pretty neat. And if we look, I know I'm zoomed in a fair bit, but you look over there, and all the mountains of the southern island kind of right all over here. So we're basically flying pretty much between the two at the moment. Alright, we can turn the pitot heat off. It is... we'll turn that back to 7 Celsius now. Okay, good. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn the terrain over to relative. So we're going to see a bunch of black. As we descend lower, we'll start seeing green and yellow. That tells us, relative to where we are, how high the terrain below us is. So this is a better reference when we're descending, coming in for approach, etc. Oh, that is pretty though. So we're going to start seeing parts of Wellington here. Unfortunately, it does look like the clouds are starting to thicken back up over there. Pretty view of some scenery of the southern island, but it also is starting to get a little bit blocked by clouds. There's a little bit of a drawback. I was hoping for clearer weather, but it is what it is. So, alright, let's zoom in just a little more here. Actually, no, because I want to... Well, we can, and I can just pull up the map and take a look. Let's do that real quick. So we are going out... What we'll probably do is cross over land. We'll branch out this way. Fly out over the tip of the island. Come back in, because we have to land this direction because of the wind. I'm just thinking of how I want to set myself up for that approach, without having to fly all the way out here and turn and all of that. We've got enough time that we can probably do it. If the visibility's okay, we can just go visually. In the real world, we would be talking to air traffic control, and they would actually be directing us to descend to certain altitudes, fly certain headings, a certain direction, and they would tell us how to get lined up for the approach. But we're doing that ourselves, since we aren't talking to ATC in the sim. And Katie, if you're still here, I actually will give you the opportunity to see how the flaps are used. I'm kind of more of a visual learner, so if I see somebody do something, I have a better idea of how to do it. So, I don't know if that would help you. Or if the explanation was good enough. Oh, take a look at this. Alright. Yeah, look at that. We're getting some houses and some shops and buildings and stuff like that. Looks like we're starting to come to the suburbs of Wellington. And... oh, take a look at that. Alright. So this is actually the runway right here. But we're going to be coming out over here and coming in this direction. But, oh yeah, I see it right here. That is downtown Wellington right there. That's going to be a pretty view. We get to fly over it. Yeah, this is really pretty. Looks like the cloud cover is kind of broken over the city, which is nice. Can't really see out that way. But if you look behind us, that's actually a pretty view too. Wow! That's getting pretty remarkable. And more of the harbor. Right, back into the cockpit here. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, it's starting to get just a little bit bumpy over here too, is I am going to set the heading, and we're going to break off of the GPS track and actually... oh, we got to set it this way to correct for the crosswind here. So we'll do that. We're actually going to be going right over downtown, so we're going to level off at 3,000 feet, which will be fine. Getting a bit of light turbulence. If that turbulence gets worse and it becomes moderate or more, we'll have to slow down to this speed right here, this maneuvering speed, 140. With the turbulence light, we're fine as we are, as long as we stay below the yellow. And I think we could actually angle ourselves even a little bit more, so we'll actually turn that to 180. We're right about to level off at 3,000 feet. So we're going to add some power, only about 50% power. Just try to keep our speed roughly where it's at. We slow down a little bit, it's fine. But take a look right here, we're going to be going right, I mean directly over downtown Wellington. That's going to be pretty remarkable. If you zoom in, take a look, there's a giant stadium right here. It's like a shipyard. Kind of the harbor, pier, a marina. The airport, of course, right there. Kind of more of the city. And I don't know if these would really be suburbs or just kind of an extension of the city, kind of up in the hills. But yeah, look at that. That's pretty neat right there. Wow. Sky Stadium. That's cool. Wow. That is really neat. Is this another stadium right here? It might be. Yeah, looks like it. It's considerably smaller than the one back there. If you look straight down, we're flying directly over downtown. That is really something. Wow. Okay, back into the cockpit. Let's kind of get set up to come in for the approach. Oops. I will leave that where it is. We can zoom in a bit. We actually could do a visual approach. I'm going to switch that because that'll let us not have to fly quite as far out. So we're going to go visual 3-4. Actually activate. Alright. So we're going to turn 10 degrees. Oh. And we'll actually just go ahead and activate vector to final. So what we'll do is come out over this way and intercept back over here. We can start down to probably about 1500. Let's see what that was. No, the VNav isn't on. If we turn it on, it should actually give us an indication of where to get down to. Turn vertical speed. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it doesn't want to, probably because of the approach. Oh, we've got to set that down first. Ah! It's going all over the place. Thing is sensitive there. Alright, VNav on. Now we can lower it. Oh, why is it still not going? There we go. 500 feet. Oh, we could go like 700 or 800. Pro streamer moment. I wasn't using the autopilot right. Okay. We're out over the water. We'll be turning in just a moment here. Alright, once we get below 150 knots, we'll go ahead and drop the flaps to half. Let's pull that back just a little more. Let's also do final items. So we're going to go fall rich on the mixture. And boost pump is on. We're going to switch the fuel tank back, now that that's considerably low. And landing light on. Oh, not the parking brake. Misclick. Alright, below 150, we can go half flaps. Bump the power back in a little bit. You need more power to maintain your speed with the flaps down because of the increased drag. So we're going to set up an angle there. Let's just look back out this way. Yep. Looks pretty good. And let's make that descent rate a little more shallow, so we'll get a 500 feet per minute. And then we're going to go ahead and spin it kind of like that there. And we'll actually continue the descent down to 1,000 feet. Actually, no, we can leave it where it's at. 1,500 is fine. Now that I'm looking at the diamond, we'll intercept it there. Alright, then the last thing to do is we're going to switch to nav on and approach on. And now we'll lower that. VNav on, vertical speed stays off. And we're set up on the approach here. And overshot just a tiny bit, so we're going to turn to the right to correct that. Right, approach mode on, nav mode on. So those are good. Heading is off. FLC off, VNav on, vertical speed off, we're good. Alright, below 110 we can actually go fall flaps, so I'm going to wait to do that until we're a little closer in. Yeah, it's turning us back on course. There's a bit of a... oh, that's a strong quartering crosswind coming from this direction, so we're pointed to the left because the wind is going to push us to the right. So that's how we compensate. Alright, and it is descending us, so we're going to pull back on the power a little bit more here. We're down to about 30%. We'll get below 110 and then we can go full flaps. Actually pull that power back some more. JP, happy Thanksgiving, man. How are you? Alright, we're below 110. We can go full flaps. As we slow down some more, we want to get to about 80 knots. I just want to bump that power in a little bit more. Alright, last quick check. Landing light is on. Mixture's full forward, flaps are full, boost pump is on. And, yeah, we're good. I'm doing alright, man. Appreciate it. Alright. Below, okay, so right here, 854 feet. So below that, the plane will not continue to fly itself or descend. We're a bit slow, so we're going to fly by hand. We're going to add some power in. I want to be at about 80 knots here. Try trimming that just a... Oh, not... Yeah, it's always happens to disengage the autopilot and then try to trim and it kind of spikes, but that's okay. So excited to see what the PC2 DLC is. We'll find out Monday. Man, coming in this direction is really neat because you get a view of all of downtown Wellington.
The gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this.
Hey Shem, how are ya? Alright, so we're looking good on the approach. We're actually a little bit high, so we can take some power out and get slowed down. Wind is more direct, which is good. So less of a crosswind to fight right now. I think we're going to be parking to the left. It looks like the terminal is on the right. So the parking for the small planes should be over on the... Yep, we're a bit low, so let's level off. We've got a lot of speed, so we can just kind of level off and bleed some of that. Come on, maybe a little more power here. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. Take that out. The wind is very gusty. It's over 20 knots. We're only doing 62 over the ground, despite our airspeed being over 80. So take some of that power out. We can actually get even slower. Nice and easy here. 25 knots over the runway. That wind was reporting at like 17. Alright, here we are over the runway. Take the power out. She's gonna float the plane. So she wants to. There we go, we're on the ground. Nose wheels down. Bring the flaps up. And we've got to turn kind of up over here. That's beautiful. Just look at the view rolling down the runway. Arrived a little late. Yeah, no worries. It's fine. Alright, let's make this turn right here. We've got some hangars and some small plane parking over this way. So we'll... yeah. Yeah, let's go to the left. Park ourselves over here. Alright. Wow. So we'll take this line right here. And hit the brakes and we'll just park ourselves. That would be right over the wing right there.
I see the light inside you, brighter than the sky.
Alright, good there. Alright, parking brake set.
Let us escape and fly away tonight.
Alright, landing light off.
World in our sight,
Flaps are up, boost pump off. And let's go ahead and begin shutdown. So we'll turn the avionics and the alternator switches off. Oh, it won't let me clear all of that. Oh well. Yeah. Alright. Mixture's gonna go idle cutoff. Engine stops an hour and 23 minutes, so it actually did take a little bit longer than we had expected, but that's fine. Why did it not count a takeoff? We started on the ground and took the plane off. Why did it not count? Oh, man. Alright, continue. Engine is stopped. Oh, it doesn't want... really? Doesn't want to clear that. Interesting. Oh. Alright, whatever. Lights off, magnetos off, and battery switches, and that's it. Alright. Out of the cockpit, and oh wow, yeah, the water is right there. So just take a look at the view back here, though. That's really pretty. And then if you look at that way, it's kinda blocked by the buildings, but you can just barely get a little bit of a glimpse of downtown. It's better if we zoom out and look. Yeah, you can't really see it much, but that's alright. Did get a pretty view flying over it, coming in. Alright. So welcome to the capital of New Zealand, Wellington. I think I want to do one more flight. So I'm gonna get up and take a very short break, and then I'll plan a route, and I'm gonna let you all vote, and when I come back, we'll get a short one, looking for maybe like a 30-40 minute flight, and we'll do that.
Was it the voice? Was it the fire burning in me? All of the noise turned into choirs of harmony. Left me with the pieces of forever that you broke. But since you left me alone, I've been high.
Alright, we're back. Alright, we got a single vote for Hawaii. Anybody else wanna add in, or? I'll give it one more minute and we'll go ahead and get that set up. So I'm gonna exit out of this. We'll go back to the main menu here.
Lately I've been high.
Alright, so we'll set up a flight in Hawaii. I'm thinking we'll do probably something relatively short. My thought is maybe Maui to Oahu or something like that. And I'll actually show you how I plan these. I'm going to pull my Sky Vector up on the screen. Alright, so it looks like we'll do Hawaii. Only one vote, but that's fine. So we're gonna pull that up, and we're just gonna look at the weather. So all of these green dots show that the weather is pretty good. So if we wanted to start at Maui, we would... Oh, let's actually just clear that out, start a new one. So we'll plan... And let's just say we wanted to go to Lihue on Hawaii Island. And we set this at 200. 50 minutes, so that's actually a bit longer than I was going for. And we'd set our altitude, for example, let's just say 16,000 feet. And I check this nav log, and it shows us the wind aloft, so the wind is actually favorable going that way. If we wanted to do a shorter flight, Oahu is half the distance. That would end up being like a 30-minute flight. So if we change this to Honolulu, I know the code for that is PHNL. And we need to go at a lower altitude, so let's just say 12,000. And now we're looking at a 28-minute flight. And I think we'll actually do that. Yeah, let's do that. I think that's a good route. So now we'll come into the sim. And we've got the SR22 selected. We're gonna find a parking space. Looks like the small planes generally park over here, so we'll set that. And then Walmart. Flight Sim finds the need to point out Walmart on the island of Maui. Along with the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, a golf course, and I guess a road, a landmark, and a park. But that's a kicker right there. Here's where Walmart is, folks. If you ever need to go to Walmart on Hawaii, now you know. Thanks to Microsoft Flight Sim. Oh, good lord. Alright, and then we're going to set arrival at Honolulu. And I'm going to go in and change the weight and balance on the plane. We've got enough fuel. I usually clear the co-pilot out. And I clear the rear passenger out. And then I add baggage. 120 pounds. Oh. Okay, there we go. And that is all balanced. Why did it not... Okay, there we go. So that is set, and we'll make sure we're starting at the ramp. This says 48 minutes. That's not the case. SkyVector is saying 28. In reality, because we're going to be taking off this direction and curving around, it's probably going to be about 35 minutes. So, considerably shorter than the flight that we just did. So let me go ahead and cut that back. Alright, so we're flying the Cirrus SR-22 from Kahului on the island of Maui in Hawaii up to Honolulu. We're going to go just at 12,000 feet since it's a pretty short flight. Looks like about, I would say, 32 to 35 minutes. And we're going to fly pretty much direct. Let's go ahead and load in. Climb aboard, let's go flying. Alright. Loaded in on the ground. So let's go. Battery switches on. Get this all started up. Initialize, exit. CDI to GPS. $12,000 FLC. Oh, can't see it there. 110. VNAV on. FLC is on. Altitude is set. We don't touch that for right now. Clear that. We can go ahead and turn the nav and strobe lights on. Mixture starts full rich this time. It did start idle cutoff before. It's just variable. I don't understand why it sometimes starts full rich and other times at cutoff. Boost pump on. Throttle full forward. Bump it down. Bump it up just a little bit now. Gauge the magnetos to both. Clear left. Clear right. Guy ahead will move. Clear. Alright, engine is started. Oil pressure is immediately up into the green. Temperature's rising. Alternators on. Amperage is good. Avionics master on. And we'll wait for that to initialize. Okay. We'll zoom in, we'll take a look at the layout of the airport. And we'll get the weather here in a second. So, runway 5 is right off over here. So we just turn that taxiway, go down to the end, and if you look at the wind cone, that is what the wind is favorable for. Let's grab the weather real quick and just make sure everything is set. 050 at 15, gusting to 24, so we definitely want runway 5. Runway 2 would be a viable option, but we're closer to 5 and it's more favorable anyway. A few clouds at 3,000, scattered at 5,000. Not really seeing too many clouds, so that's pretty good. 29 Celsius, that's 84 Fahrenheit. And we actually need to switch the mode of the altitude back. So we'll go into options, alt units to inches, and back out of that. Murta's Gaming, sup brother, what's going on? Welcome. Happy Thanksgiving. Alright, and that is set 2997. Okay. So we are actually ready to taxi. This guy will move. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. And we'll just follow this curve. Beautiful view of the western portion of Maui right here. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, brother. I appreciate that. Alright, coming up to the hold position here, so let's tap the brakes, get slowed down, and we're going to come to a stop right here by the hold bar. Alright, good right there. Alright, quick run up, let's go out of the cockpit, check the flight controls. Rudder's good. Elevator's good. Ailerons are good, we'll set the flaps to half. And they're confirmed at half, back into the cockpit. Quick run up. Let me just clear that real quick. Keep it from flashing. Gonna put the power up to 1700 RPMs. That's good there. Alright. Right magneto, good drop, back to both. Alright, left. Good drop, back to both. Engine instruments are all in the green, there's no warnings or errors or anything. We can go idle power. Let's go ahead, turn on the landing light. Our boost pump is on, mixture is full, rich, flaps are set to half. We are good to go ahead and take off. Alright, parking brake off. Throttle up and taxi out, get lined up on the runway and go. Well, almost. We got one quick thing to do. Alright, just holding the brake. Gonna set that to our current. Heading on. Check everything. FLC and VNAV are on. Alright. Centered up. Full power. Engine instruments are good. Airspeed is already alive because it's so windy. We're looking for 77 knots. Or 65. 70, 75. There we go. Up. Beautiful. And yeah, it is very breezy. Pitch up here. Yeah, positive rate of climb. And let's go ahead, bring the flaps up. .800 feet above the ground, we'll go ahead and engage the autopilot.
Engaging autopilot.
And we can actually spin the heading indicator around that way. We don't want to turn it too far to avoid the plane stopping the turn and starting to go in a right turn because we over adjust the heading. And we'll go ahead and turn the nav on. I want to make sure heading remains on. It does. So we'll kind of angle it back that way. Alright, quick view out of the cockpit. So this is West Maui over here. This right here is the eastern tip of the island of Molokai. This is the airport. We were parked right over here, and we took off that direction, so we swung back around. Whole ton of fields. There's a ton of sugarcane fields out here. And I remember when I was on Maui, and we saw a field on fire, and we didn't know that that is the way that you actually harvest the sugarcane. So we were like, should we call the fire department or something like that and say there's a big like brush fire or something like that? But we told somebody. We went to a store kind of over here, And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, that's how they harvest sugarcane, so don't worry. Alright, we're going to be turning on course. That there is the island of Kaho'olawe. It's the smallest of the eight main Hawaiian islands, and it is the only one that is uninhabited. This is Haleakala, which is the larger of the two mountains that make up Maui. And it is a dormant volcano. And there's an observatory on top of it. This is the city of Kahului right here, the main population center of the island. And Wailuku right over here. There's some great surfing down in these bays right here. Actually driving along the road you can see all the surfers and stuff like that. It's a good surf break. If we zoom in and look, this is the eastern part of Molokai, this is the western part, and Oahu is back here in the distance. We can already see it. And if you look back here, it's not very well visible just because it's blocked mostly by this. But back here is the big island. This is Mauna Loa back here.
They said, don't fall, don't forget all the things you've been taught.
Alright, coming up 7,000 feet. Just zoom out a little bit on the map so we can see a little better. Let's go ahead and pull the power back for a cruise climb, so we're going to go to 30.5. Bump it just a touch up. Come on. That's too much. Yeah, there we go. And we'll lean the mixture. We're looking for 20 gallons per hour of fuel flow. Yeah, right there. That's good. And yeah, that's a pretty view. Coming up right over these canyons here. Kaho'olawe, right back there. This right here is the island of Lanai. It's actually mostly owned by the Dole fruit company. They grow a ton of pineapples and stuff. There is a small town right in the middle of the island. Might be able to see it. No, it's more on the backside over here. This is not visible right now. Town of Lahaina, right over here. Hanaapali Coast. Kapalua, right over here. I have a question. How long it took you to learn to fly a plane? Am I a pilot in real life? So, yes, I am a private pilot in the real world. I rarely fly, though. So, all of my flying is basically done through Flight Sim. And it took me a little less than a year from when I started to get my license. I've heard of people doing it faster, like 4 to 6 months, but you're flying every day, you're in putting a ton of hours of studying and everything into it. I took my time. And I've had my license for over 15 years, but I so rarely fly anymore just because it's so expensive. And I've just got other priorities in life right now. So, unfortunately, I don't get to fly the way that I want to. But Flight Sim is an excellent alternative. Seven Celsius up here, and now it's 6. Wow. We're about to level off, so once we turn the landing light off, we can turn the boost pump off, leave the mixture as it is for now. And here we are leveling off. We don't have to touch that, so we're pretty good. And we're just going to speed up a bit. Now we can go out of the cockpit and take a look around. It's actually fairly cloudy over the big islands, but you can see it better now. This is Mauna Loa over here. Mauna Kea on the back. That's the highest point in Hawaii, and Mauna Kea is the tallest mountain in the world. And that sounds deceptive because everybody would say, wait, isn't Mount Everest the tallest mountain in the world? No. Mount Everest is the highest in terms of elevation. But when you measure the height of Mauna Kea from its base at the seafloor up to the summit, Mauna Kea is a little bit taller. And it's also a very wide, it's a shield volcano. So it's a very wide base, kind of like that, whereas Mount Everest is a steeper peak. Nice, I wish you the best, brother. I really appreciate that. Wish you the best, too. I appreciate you hanging out. Up ahead, Lanai, Molokai, and Oahu in the background. We're not going to be able to see Kauai, it's way too far out. Maria, wow. Have a little more faith in yourself. I'll have more luck in making my own wings and flying like Icarus than in learning how to control a plane. It's actually really not all that difficult. Takeoff and landing are, especially landing. But once you're in the air, it's actually pretty simple to control the plane. There's a bit of science that goes into it. There's a little more than like driving a car, but it's a similar concept, and actually in the air it's nice because you don't really have to follow like the roadways and stuff if you're flying visually. You just look at where you're going and fly to it. And when you have autopilot and stuff like that, it actually becomes extremely easy because it basically flies the plane for you. And yeah, tons of water. Of course. Alright, so 18 minutes to go. So we're really only going to be at cruising altitude for just a few minutes. This is a very easy flight. After this, I'm going to take a break for a while, and then we'll be back on and do PC2 late tonight. And of course, since it's a holiday and I don't have to work tomorrow, I'll be able to stay up a little bit later. So what's great is the weather is so good you can actually see like everything around here. So the island of Molokai is pretty long, and the eastern part is made of this kind of eroded volcano with some high cliffs. You can't see it from this side, but the cliffs are pretty steep and drop off the back. That right there is Kapalua, which actually has some pretty neat history in Hawaii. Couple little communities down here. The main town right over here, kind of up there. The town of Kaunakakai, which is a fun name. It's fun to say, Kaunakakai. Oh, I'm sorry, Kapalua, that's on Maui. So this back here is actually called Kalaupapa. I know it can be a little confusing. You can mix up a couple of the names that sound very similar. So there actually is a very small airfield. I think I've flown into here before. It's been a very long time since I did that. And yeah, right here's the main town on the island. Few people, I think only about 6 or maybe 7,000 people live on this island, if I remember right. When you look back that way, you can see how Maui is almost split into two. And then the big island of Hawaii in the background. You can see almost all of it now. Is it hard to become a pilot? Can a person like me who is bad in academics be a pilot? It is difficult, but it's something that most people can learn. There is a lot of studying involved. You have to understand like how to do certain math calculations for like your weight, your balance, your flight performance, like your climb, your takeoff distance, your fuel consumption, stuff like that. But I mean, obviously, the way you learn how to fly is by actually doing it and training. So it's definitely doable. It is a lot of hard work, but it is definitely doable. So I don't think it's too far out of the question for most people. Oh, and that's beautiful right there. I love flying in Hawaii. I know. When I first started flying, and this is like 16 years ago, and really 17 years ago when I first started getting interested and made the decision that I wanted to learn to fly. My dream was actually flying airplanes, like for like air taxi or like small airlines throughout the Hawaiian Islands, like doing island hopping and stuff like that. I don't think there's any way that I would do that now. But I always have fond memories of that, and I'm reminded of it particularly when I fly in the simulator in Hawaii. So, kind of a neat thing. Back into the cockpit here, and let's take a look. We got 13 minutes to go, so we're actually going to start our descent here in a minute. Let's see if we can get the weather at Honolulu. I'm pretty sure we can. Oh yeah. Alright, 180 at 8. Variable 140 to 200. 10 miles visibility, few clouds at 2,500, scattered at 40. 4,000 that is. 28 Celsius, 82 Fahrenheit, and 2998, so we can actually bump that just one notch up. There we go. And it is time to choose an approach. I think we are going to do... Ooh. Let me pull the map up. So, our options here... The wind is coming basically straight like this. Why is the airport not really loading on here? Come on. You're kidding me. Or is it just taking a minute to load? But the runway runs like this. Another one up here, and then there's two that go this way. So if we wanted to go up this way over the town, that would actually give us a really pretty approach. But we'd have to pay attention to the terrain, because the mountain rises pretty steeply. There's a high ridge right here. I think we'll try for 2-2. That should be an interesting approach. So we're going to go visual. I don't know which of the two to choose. So I'm going to pull Sky Vector back up, and I'm going to look at the chart. 2-2 left, I think, is a little bit longer, so we'll go with that. We'll choose the straight fix. Load but not activate, and let's just check what it shows us on the map here. That's got us... Oh, that's taken us up over the ridge. That's going to be tough, so we're actually going to set. Yeah, so we'll actually do vector to final. So let's go flight plan. Set that there, and it's going to turn us just here. We need to actually start our descent, so let's just yank that down. Yeah, and it's starting us on our descent right now. We're just now passing over the western portion of Molokai. Just going to pull the power back down to about 35%. We want to keep our speed at about 160 to 165. That there actually should be good. If we zoom all the way in, you can see all of Oahu. So this is the North Shore where they have the very famous surfing. Honolulu down here, Waikiki Beach, will actually be going right over it. Diamond Head, right over here on the eastern side, will be going over it. And if you look, it may be really tough to see on the stream for you all, but just barely on the horizon, right out over here, you can see the island of Kauai in the distance. Alright, so we're set up pretty good there. Let's go ahead and actually switch the fuel tank before we get an imbalance. We're going to turn the boost pump on. It's a little early to do that, but we'll take care of it now. Thanks for the info, really appreciate it. Gotta head out. It was nice talking to you. Just came across your channel while scrolling. Hope it reaches even more people. Alright, thank you so much. I appreciate you hanging out. Wishing you all the best. Take care, brother. Alright, you as well. Thank you so much. And have a great rest of the day. Happy Thanksgiving again. And perhaps we'll catch you back sometime.
Yeah. Unknown brain. Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Alright, we need to set that a little higher because of the terrain. Probably 4,000 is safe. Let me just check the chart. And that'll tell me pretty quick. 3150 is the highest point. Yeah, so 4,000 we're safe. And then once we get down to that altitude, we'll just descend visually. Since the weather's good enough, we can descend below that at our discretion. Get a quick view behind us. Oh, look at that. You can see the moon already. There's Maui. Molokai, Lanai, Kaalawe is obscured, and then the big island of Hawaii is just barely visible in the background. gonna give ourselves a little bit more room to set up for the approach. So we're gonna go to this fix over here. Just a couple degrees offset. We should still be able to get some good views. It's just we're not going to be passing directly over, like, downtown Honolulu and stuff. Actually, don't think we would, even if we were on the path that we were before. It would be off to our left. Diamond Head right over here. The city of Honolulu over here, and Waikiki Beach is right back here behind all those buildings. Oahu is by far the most populated of the islands. It's the third largest. And of course, Honolulu is not only the largest city, but also the capital of the state of Hawaii. Just about to pass over the shore right over here, and we'll actually get a pretty good view of the north shore of Oahu, where all the really good surfing and stuff is, kind of all throughout here. Kaneohe is up here. It's a naval base, I believe. Yeah, this is pretty. Couple harbors and stuff. Downtown Honolulu, right over there. Back into the cockpit here. So we're about to level off at 4,000 feet, and we could go down to 3,500. I would not go below that right now. Just given the ridge. But as long as we're 500 feet above that terrain, we're okay. Oh, we are actually pointed over toward that. Alright. I think we actually could go visual, so what I'm gonna do... I'm not sure about this, actually. I'm gonna disengage the autopilot, and I'm gonna kind of turn in between here. If we wanted to break off and go for one of the 2.6s, we could do that. Yeah, 2.6 right is an option if we switch over to that. That's probably going to be the easier, rather than risk it coming in over that steep terrain and then having to get the plane down very suddenly. So let's actually just pass over this here. I'm going to pull that power back a little bit. Let's do some final items. The mixture's going to go full rich. Boost pump is on. We can turn... Oh! Nope, hold on. Plane's moving with the turbulence a little bit. Alright. We don't want to get too low yet. We actually can go half flaps below 150.
Gave you too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm a fool while you're breaking.
Now we're getting a really beautiful view of downtown Honolulu. It's getting a bit gusty as we're passing over the ridge. That's why we're getting a bit of turbulence.
Go on, just do what you do.
Take that power out. And we're gonna get the plane down Now that we're on the far side of the... Yeah, this is definitely the safer of the options. Pearl Harbor, by the way, is right out over here. Got the Pearl Harbor Memorial, the USS Arizona that was famously sunk in the attack in 1941, and the USS Missouri, which is actually a museum ship that you can get on and check out and stuff. It is breezy. Wow, this is going to be fun. I know, fighting it a little bit right now. Beautiful view of downtown right there. Let's get back over and correct it. See if we have enough time. We are... Yeah, that speed is just a little bit. Yeah, let's go full flaps now. And we're going to have to book it down to the ground, so we're going to cut the power. I'm actually going to try real quick to set an approach. Yeah, we may have to go around and circle back in. We might be able to make it, though. Give me 2-6 right? Nope. Alright, forget it. We're just gonna fly visually without approach guidance. We do have the glide path indicator to help us, but we are coming in fast as we're trying to descend with the power idle. So once we kind of get a bit lower and level off, we'll be able to pick up the approach. This is not something we would do in the real world. Of course, we'd be talking to ATC and they would be giving us directions how to get in. Alright, we're getting in on the approach here. Alright, we do need to add some power in now. Now we're getting a little on the low side. Let's add some power and level off just a little bit here. There we go. A little bit slow, add a touch of power. Alright, take that power back out here. Now we're coming in a little bit fast, but we got a lot of runway to work with, so take that power back out. We're just gonna let her float. There we are. I think we've got to park over there. Yeah, that's all airlines. Alright. We can make this turn right here. Let's get slowed down. Alright, clear of the runway. I'm going to set the parking brake real quick. We can actually turn these off. We'll leave that. Flaps are up. That's good. Alright, let me zoom in and pull up the map on the chart real quick. And let's just see where we need to get to parking. So we exited right about here. So it looks like we'll be going across here, general aviation and cargo. Okay, so we're going to cross these two runways here and then just taxi down the ramp. We could also even park over on this side if we wanted. Okay. Parking brake off. And let's just taxi ahead. Don't want to go too fast. There's some small plane parking over there. Yeah, maybe we'll go that way. Let's cross the runways. Let's clear them first. We're good. Good there. We've got another one to cross right up here. Clear. Oh, we got vehicles out there. Get off the runway! It's been a while since I've said that. Oh, man. Yeah, look at that. The fuel truck on the runway. What in the world? Oh, welcome to Flight Sim, folks. Alright, cargo parking. There's some small plane parking over there. Yeah, so let's actually go down this way. I'll switch this music real quick. Come on. Yeah, I see all the small planes over here, so that's the better place to go. It looks like they actually have a parking team out there for us. Yeah, that's the area we should be in. This is one of the longer taxis, actually, on the ground after landing. Yep, there's a parking team right there, so we're going to go ahead and make this turn right here to our left. There's a couple of them, actually. We'll just find a group of people and park. I mean, we could even park ourselves, but yeah, they've got a few different... Oh, hold on. Alright, bad behaved vehicle. Cut us off. Alright, throttle back up and turn. Yeah, let's go right over this way. Is that going to be it right there? No, it's just these people walking around. Well, I don't know. Alright, we're going to park ourselves. We'll take this spot right up here. Alright. And we're good right there. Set the parking brake, and let's get the plane shut down. Alright. If we could turn the boost pump off. Flaps are up, landing light is off. And let's go ahead and cut these here. Alright. Avionics, alternator switches. Parking brake is set. That's just letting us know that. Alright, idle cutoff. And, yeah, 31 minute flight, so it was about on target there. clear those. Lights off, magneto switch to off, and just the battery switches. And there we are. Alright, folks. Welcome to Honolulu, Hawaii. Beautiful, sunny, tropical paradise. So, alright, got 2 good flights in. I need a break for a little while. So, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. We'll be back on a little bit later tonight with Planet Coaster 2. Hope to catch you all there. Or on the next flight. It will probably be tomorrow. As always. Well, first before I say. Hope you all have had a fantastic Thanksgiving. May you all be blessed. Hope you all have plenty of things to find to be thankful for. As I do, I'm certainly thankful for you all and for being able to do this for you all. So, alright. And as always, until next time, folks, take care. Stay safe. We'll see ya.